The 90s wasn't just the greatest decade, they were also a survival test. We're talking about dolls that could accidentally chomp on fingers, Barbies that literally sparked fires, and a time when you could smoke a cigarette over a Happy Meal. Today we're diving into things from the 90s that got banned, restricted, or completely disappeared. Let's see how many you actually remember. First up, we have Rollerblade Barbie. She was released in 1991. She didn't just roll into our hearts, she quite literally rolled into trouble. You see those metal rollerblades? Well, they had a flint mechanism that created real sparks when you rolled her. It was awesome, until parents realised she was literally a rolling fire hazard. If you rolled her over a shaggy carpet, you were one spark away from a house fire. Regulators pulled her from shelves fast, making her one of the most notorious banned toys of the 90s. We all miss the sound of the cereal toy hitting your bowl, and sometimes having to dig to the bottom of your Waffle Crisp or Reptile Crunch for the plastic toy. This childhood experience was one of the best things about the 90s. These toys were tiny, and they often got swallowed by toddlers, which led to them being pulled from shelves as they were deemed to be choking hazards. This, mixed with concerns over microplastics and new rules on marketing sugary foods to kids, meant the end of the cereal toy, which is something that we still miss to this day. Now, well, you just get a QR code on the box sending you somewhere online. I don't know about you, but a digital puzzle isn't quite the same as a mask pencil topper. This is one that still baffles people, including me. Whilst over here in the UK and Europe we were cracking open Kinder Eggs for decades, they were and still are effectively banned for sale in the US. It's because of that 1938 law against having non-nutritive objects inside a confection. The Kinder Egg is a legal no-go in America, just like Magic Balls. You can actually be fined at the border for trying to bring them in. It's one of those rare 90s staples the US missed out on, and the UK and Europe actually got to enjoy. This feels like a fever dream now, but back in the 90s, it was normal to smoke inside restaurants, pubs, offices, and even planes at the very start of the decade. McDonald's had those little tin or amber glass ashtrays on every table. In the US, Utah was the first to outlaw smoking in 1995, but many states didn't follow for a decade. And here over in the UK, you could light up over a Big Mac or a pint until the indoor ban in 2007. Today we know smoking indoors is dangerous, and it's banned in most countries. And it's really hard to imagine a smoke-filled fast food joint full of kids, but back then, nobody thought twice about it. And if the real ones weren't enough, we had the candy version. Tiny white sticks that looked exactly like branded look-alike cigarettes, sometimes even with red tips to look lit. In the UK, we simply called them candy cigarettes, but they had Spider-Man packaging, whereas in the US, they came in packs that mimicked brands like Marlboro or Camel. Parents eventually freaked out, and health authorities banned the lookalikes. And suddenly, kids couldn't pretend to smoke chocolate sticks anymore. Today you can find candy sticks, but the cigarette branding is a relic of a wilder time. Just like you saw in Home Alone, airports in the 90s were a completely different world. You could walk someone right up to the departure gate without even having a ticket. Families would say goodbye at the plane door, and security checks were minimal. No strict liquid rules, no taking your shoes off, and no laptops out in trays. Then after 9/11, everything understandably changed overnight. Security became a fortress, liquids were restricted, and airport goodbyes moved back behind the security barriers forever. Slap bracelets were the original fidget toy that could cut your wrist. You slapped it on and it wrapped perfectly around your arm. Original versions generally came in bright neon colours, but they were a massive hazard. Cheaper models used thin steel, and when that fabric tore, you were wearing a jagged razor blade. In the US, schools in New York and Connecticut banned them in the 90s, and here in the UK, it was the same with my personal slap bracelet being confiscated along with my pogs by the teacher. That was a rough day. Claire's accessories even had a recall as recent as 2018, so some things just never change. Now for the UK kids, we had British Bulldog. For the US kids, it was often called Red Rover. Both were essentially playground battle royales. One kid in the middle, everyone else sprinting for their lives. It was pure chaos, collisions, scrapes, and the odd broken bone. Schools banned it because someone always got hurt, but we always found the hidden spots to play it. And sticking with schools, in the 90s they made a fortune selling sugary snacks. In the UK it was fizzy drinks and 10p Freddos. In the US it was vending machines full of Surge and Snickers. Then came the health campaigns. Jamie Oliver famously ended the turkey twizzler era in the UK, while the US cleared out the vending machines for healthier options, which just created a black market for the tuck shop kids selling cans of pop and snacks out of lockers and bags. Those were the real 90s entrepreneurs and the richest kids in school. Before Spotify, we had burned mixed CDs. We spent hours and sometimes days downloading songs on Napster, LimeWire or BearShare, risking the family PC with every download just to burn a 12-track disc. The music industry eventually caught up and sued Napster out of existence in 2001. In the UK, the High Court actually made private copying of CDs illegal for a bit in 2015. Everybody, including me, thought that we'd retire on Beanie Babies. We bought duplicates, we kept them in safes, and people even fought over them in divorce courts. We thought they were an investment like Bitcoin is today. There were even books predicting which ones would skyrocket, which we took the valuations as gospel. It turns out the market crashed faster than the Tamagotchi you forgot to feed. And if you still got a Princess Di Bear, it's probably worth about the same amount you paid for it back in the 90s. Skydancer dolls were basically unguided missiles. My sister had one growing up, and what she'd do is she'd pull the string, launch it into the air, and usually fly it straight into my face. In the year 2000, Gloob Toys had to record 8.9 million units in the US after reports of scratched corneas and chipped teeth. And subsequently, they were pulled from shelves globally. It was the coolest flying toy ever, until it took out the lava lamp in your bedroom. Then we have the Snacktime Cabbage Patch Kid, the doll that actually ate your fake plastic food. It looked adorable, but the design was an absolute nightmare. The toy had a powerful mechanical jaw, something you would see on Robot Wars, that would munch on plastic fries. Over 100 incidents were reported in the US and UK of children getting their hair or fingers caught in the doll's motorized mouth. And Mattel eventually offered a $40 refund to take these cannibal dolls off the market, and now it's a collector's item for very brave adults. This is something I've seen change firsthand. My son just started school and I found out that peanut butter sandwiches are a total no-go because of nut allergies. Back in the 90s, half the class had peanut butter and nobody thought twice about it. And yes, of course, it makes total sense for safety today, but for kids who loved peanut butter sandwiches back then, the switch to cheese was a bit of a lunchtime tragedy. Going to Blockbuster or your local video store on a Friday evening was one of the greatest 90s childhood experiences. Renting a VHS or a game was the highlight of the week until you forgot to take it back. Those late fees could genuinely bankrupt a family, and with late fees once making up to 16% of Blockbuster's revenue, it eventually became its downfall and took an amazing business into liquidation. Streaming services like Netflix and Prime made late fees a thing of the past, and they also killed the joy of wandering the aisles for 45 minutes on a Friday night. Now all we do is browse on Netflix for 45 minutes to watch a film while scrolling on our devices. RIP to an absolute legend. Do you remember yo-yo balls? Those liquid-filled jelly balls on a stretchy elastic cord. They were everywhere in the late 90s, but what felt hypnotic turned out to be serious safety issues. They were officially banned in the UK in the early 2000s, and several US states issued major warnings. Finally, we have the Furby. In 1999, the NSA in the US actually banned Furbys from offices. Why? Because they were afraid their toys would learn and repeat top-secret conversations. This is a true story. They thought the toys were recording devices, and it turns out Furbys were just pre-programmed phrases, but for a while the Furby was considered a genuine national security threat. Not bad for a creepy ball of fluff that used to wake you up in the middle of the night. Looking back, the 90s was the greatest childhood ever. It was like the Wild West. We survived spot-thrown Barbies, cannibal dolls, and the absolute mayhem of British Bulldog. It's a miracle any of us made it through without a permanent scar or a massive Blockbuster debt. I want to hear from you. Which of these things do you miss the most? And which one are you actually glad it's gone for good? Let me know in the comment section, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more nostalgia content.